Hello and welcome to the English version of the EWPL podcast, EWPL. This will be the first, or actually the second English version, and we will try to make some more English versions of the podcast. And today we are joined by Lasse Ustrup from Denmark. And as usual, it's me, Johan Kato, and Tobbe Christiansen. Welcome, Lasse.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And very nice to have you here. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a little bit special because Denmark was one of the original EWPL nations, and now it's been a couple of years since there was a EWPL organization in Denmark, but weight pulling hasn't disappeared from Denmark.
No, it has not. No.
So very nice to have you here, and let's start with that you can introduce yourself a little bit and your background and what you are doing now, and then we'll see where everything falls out.
Yeah, let's do that. Sorry for the alarm. There was a motorcycle in the background. I'm in the garden, so I hope you can hear me clear. But like you said, EWPL was where I also started from 13 years ago in Denmark. My first show was, like you all know, at Kevin's place in Nykøbing. So I have been in EWPL also and compete, and been a part of it for some years ago. But everything was going down here in Denmark, and I keep training, and we all here did. But we are a little small group of people in South Denmark, so it was 3 hours from there, and there was a lot of clubs and weight pool in Denmark, but many of the old guys was stopped for some years. So I tried to keep it alive, and now we are here still 13 years after. So I'm happy for that, and has learned a lot and come along, I think.
Yeah, that's great. And as we can see, it says south side Denmark. So where in Denmark are you located?
We are located in a small city called Bevtoft, 30 seconds from the Germany border, close to a city, Haderslev. So that's the biggest city around here, I will say.
Okay.
So
and so because there is you have the track with both the dirt and the rails track nearby you, and
we built it up for, I think, 3 years ago. This place in this little city where I live, I would say it's almost my backyard. I live 500 meters from the track, and so I have some great opportunities to work out here. And we train 1 time in a week in the club. And I think we are a little small group of people with 20 dogs, maybe 50, 20 dogs, and 10, 12 people. So not big, but they are loyal, and we are coming every Sunday and sometimes invite each other for some evening training, and when people can and people want. So, and we host some small shows, sometimes some competitions, and like you also text to me now, sometimes we make some organizations competition also, but sometimes we also just make open for all people in just like a club show. But and then we travel around, and it's free for all. People can do what they want, drive in the East Europe, and I was in Sweden for some months ago, and last year also, to do a EWPL show. And we go where we want and enjoy pulling together.
But when you hold the organization shows, it's the EWPO organization now, where you mostly follow.
EWPL. I was contacted by some people, some of the East Europe people in a WhatsApp group, and they asked me because we was in APA for a while, but all EPA was going down around in Europe because the people who was, what should I say, maybe in charge of the board or something, they was going out and don't want to put energy in it more. So it has going down all the way. So, and then they contacted me and asked if do you want to join, and do you want to try to build something like that up where all people has the opportunity to compete, and we will change some small rules, and we I think 10 people in the group, and we was going through the rules and discuss something, and something is a little bit like it was, and something we changed for something that all could be able to accept. So and it's the first year now, and like it takes time to build it up, so we don't expect that it will be big this year, but more and more people are hoping for it, and maybe next year will be bigger. But we try to build it up a little bit again.
But is it pretty much the same rules that the EWPAS that held some like joint European championships a couple of years ago, where they tried to merge all the different organizations?
It's hard to make all the organizations. There has been, if you ask me, too many in many years around, and sometimes I don't get it, why every time there should be a new one. But
you had the VP3O too for a year or two.
What did you say?
VP3O. You had that too in Denmark for a couple of years. So
yeah. And I think it's a little sad that there should be so many differences, but and then it sounds a little bit stupid that I say yes to open this again, but what I was really like to pull in the APA, that I was there was something that I not was happy about, and some things that we don't allow here, the 9-month rule for competition, we changed that in EWPO. So we were making some discussions, and all has something to say in the board, and that was what I know the people in the board. So we were discussing, and not was something that I say it should be like this, and all others fuck off. All has something to say. Also, if you read the rules, I'm sure that you have looked at it.
I have them on the screen beside me here.
Then Denmark has some other qualification person for the tracks, and if you see, it's easier in the person on our track to get the qualification pool. But that was also something when we was discussing about, should it just be put some money and then get the qualification after 5 pools. But it's really much, I would say, I think it's stupid. I like some person for qualification, but all kind of organizations are really also much money in my mind. So we talked about it, and they was put some numbers up, and I say, okay, if you want us to join, it's too high. What you say? All tracks are different, and the tracks we have, they cannot pull so many percent. They asked me about, I think it was 60, and I also think they still have it, if I remember correct, on a flat race track. But but our track is much harder to pull so many person on, and no dogs will get the qualification if they should pull so much.
Exactly.
So I asked them, and they asked, okay, Lasse, we trust you totally, so, and have met you many times, so what did you say? And I give them some numbers and send some videos and ask if I should go to make some measure, for the friction, but they say we trust you, so we don't need you to prove anything. So, and that's also now after some small events around, they can see on the result that it's true what I say. The dogs here are not pull so many person on our track.
No.
Um,
And as you said, all the tracks are different, and when you have but your track is it an incline rail or is it a flat rail?
It's a 0.5 incline, but the track is good for training, and we also use it for competition because all tracks is the same for all dogs and handlers. But the track is not a smooth track. It will never be, because if we put some more money in it, we will change the iron, the profile, because now it goes like, V iron and V casters, but they are going like this. So the friction have changed on all the sides. So it's, and that's also what I sometimes wondering about when I look on result from show. People are comparing all tracks together in the same, and many people who don't know anything about weight pulling, they are looking, the dogs pull this, but it's friction. It's the best on the dog on the day, and that's all matters. And some dogs are good at the start. Some dogs are better to finish incline rails.
Exactly.
Some have more energy.
That was a thought I had after the Uppsala tävling, the Uppsala show a couple of weeks ago. Because, that was the highest results ever in EWPL. It was the best rail ever put together. And
they showed the other day in EWPL. I saw it. And I will. So as you can hear, I don't want to hurt anyone's feeling, and I say congrats to all with their with the EWPL records and all this. But as you also know, it cannot be true that in one show all groups are making new records. It was just because the track was easy. Say this in a short way. I always look, if the dog make a good start, a great pull, I will say it's a good job. But the dogs need to compare on the same rails track at the same day, and everything are the same. Let's say Sweden or EWPL, all EWPL was only had this rails track, then it will be fine, and a track record in person and most weight pull. But so I saw the pulls, and I think it was some great pulls for many of the dogs, and big congrats to the handlers and everything. But EWPL record, it's for me hard to say, no matter what organization it is, because there can be another track or something that a dog can pull more friction in, and if that dog has did it that day, maybe they have got some higher percent, if you understand. So it's not exactly. I don't want to hate on someone, but call it a record. On that day.
But it's important for newer people to understand those things.
Because
so that just cause you may be pulled, let's say 90 pound per pound in Uppsala, it doesn't mean that you're gonna even get close to 50 on the next show.
Totally agree.
It was a one-time thing. This track was for now till we see it next time, but it's one weekend, one setting that was perfect. And
it's the same if you come here for my show one day here, and I maybe got some new casters, a new setup with some wider wheels on the dirt track, then it will be more smooth, and maybe you can pull many more persons than you did last time. So
Yeah.
it's the same. And if you change the setup, you will always get a new person, no matter what. Maybe
Yeah.
lower, maybe higher, and
Yeah.
and that's also where if I should change something in EWPO, I will say all organization has the point systems, but
Yeah.
I don't like point systems at all, because then I have seen a couple of times in my career in weight pool that it's people are sometimes getting mad on each other and coming for points, and a guy with low money in his bank, he can maybe not be in so many shows, and sometimes people with many monies and a lot of show, they are getting easy points sometimes also. So
Yeah.
and a dog with 10,000 points in, let's say, APA, there can come one dog, a totally new dog one day, and beat that dog with 50 points maybe in the career. So the point system, I know you have to place for getting points. I know that, but it's also easy for some people just to host a little show as a training show and get the points.
Yeah.
But in EWPO, it's also allowed to make their private events, but it's not allowed to host points on it, as it was in
Okay.
APA. That was one thing that we was talking about to take off. If I should have something to say, I want the point system totally out, because point is useless, because the best
Yeah.
dog on the day wins. Yeah.
I wouldn't care either, really, because I mean, yeah, it's in the only interesting I see with like the marathon list or something like that in EWPL is to see, yeah, considering how much better the tracks have become and carts and everything,
Yeah.
that so many old dogs are still there in the top 20. That's quite impressive. But that's the only thing that. Other than that, I don't care about points whatsoever.
But it's hard to. It's always in all sports. It's very hard to compare participants from different time eras, and for that reason, I think points are the only way that we have a good solution for the moment. But as you said, if you can afford it and go and compete a lot, and especially if you can go to the best tracks all the time in EWPL, then you will get a high point score in the end, because it's accumulated. Yeah.
Then you have a pandemic with 2 years with dogs who started before the pandemic, loses 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But it's hard. But I understand what you're coming from. I tried, actually. I don't know if you have seen it, but I've developed a own ranking system in EWPL, where we have it's a 2-year ranking, where you get the points from the EWPL points from each competition, but also on each competition your score in most weight pulled and percentage, or pound for pound as we call it. It's compared against all the other results that day, and then you get a point for that as well. And it's on the 2-year calendar back, and only the 10 best points are counted. So
okay.
yeah, just to try to make it a little bit more fair in some way. But I've been working on this for 6 or 7 years, and I haven't found a good system, and this is the best one I've found so far mathematically. I tried to find a coefficient as in weightlifting or powerlifting, but it's super hard to make the comparison.
It is. It is. It sounds a little bit like one of the last in 2019 I was at a championship in Germany, and Denmark won national pokal for the best dogs in all this show all countries was represented in the show, and they find what country has the best, the result from what countries, and of course some countries has, let's say, 4 dogs, some has 7 dogs, and but we won that from Denmark in that show, and that was also it sounds a little bit like what you say. They was try to put it up and figure it out in the same way. Yeah.
And as we talked earlier, when the tracks are so different, even the same track is different from day to day. If you have a dirt track and it's warm and sunny one day and it's rainy the other day, the conditions are so different that the results can't be compared from day to day. So you need to compare on the same day. And even then, it's really, really hard to compare a 10-kilo dog against a 70-kilo dog. It's so different physics that comes into it. So it is.
And that's also what now we have the same, like you also can see, we also have the 5 kilos jump and kilo instead of LBS in EWPO because at APA it was LBS, but here in the north and in a lot of Europe it was hard for many new people to understand the LBS. They was thinking too much, and it was hard for them to figure it out. They have enough around them with take care of the dogs and handling them. So it was in kilo instead, like in EWPS, like you talk about.
Yeah, exactly. And it's only pretty much one country in the world that still do the empirical system with the LBS, and the US. So it's fine that the EWPO should have the kilos instead. And I'm looking at the clauses, and it's pretty much the same as EWPL. It's a little bit different in the heavyweight, and you don't have the -5 kilo clause.
No.
EWPL has, but otherwise it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, but in old days, I remember EWPL it's also a little new thing that you have -5, -10. -10 was there, but -5 is new class.
-13 even.
Yeah,
from the beginning.
2011 or something, it was -13. And then -10 came to -15. So.
Yeah, but what do you think about the rule set from EWPO? And
well, when I've looked at it, it's to start with, the rule book. It's much shorter than EWPL, and in some way I find that good, and in other ways it feels like there are a lot of situations that could be up for debate and stuff like that, but there's still that in EWPL. We always judging not errors but discussions, but otherwise I think it looks a little bit it looks like the old EWPL rules with some exclusions with that you should be like 12 months old to compete. It's 18 EWPL. Otherwise I find it to be pretty much the same. I think where the rules are coming from are different, though. When EWPL started, they had another vision of how weight pool should look than maybe I get the feeling that EWPL has. But you, who has competed in both organization and even in APA, I figure, what's the biggest difference for you?
The biggest difference is maybe that like you can see, we don't have the distance rule between the dogs. Many of us, I train the same way now and for 5-10 years ago, and I never I never go far away from my dog. I can do it, and my dog don't care at all. But yeah, that's because like it's not so much about the distance. The distance, always, of course, it's support the dog when you are standing closer, and some dogs needed it. But I think it's maybe easier sometimes for beginner people or someone who needs to build up the bond with the dog, that they can have the opportunities to stay closer to support it. But even if my dog can handle it, in my training I never go far away from the dogs, and I always just go and look at the dogs, and I don't think too much about if I am 1 meter, 2 meter, 5 meter. I don't care. I just look at my dog and praise it for the training. So in the rule set, I don't know exactly what you want to know about the biggest difference, because I do not see so much. No matter, there is a time for, like you can see on the rules, when people go to the track and hook the dog off, there it's allowed to have some slack in the line. I know in the EWPL, it's go down on the ground from the cart, but now I have seen it with my own eyes, and like I said, I don't hate no organizations, or people can compare compete where they want, and I can also find it. I have never said that I don't want to compete in EWPL anymore. I could go there, but sometimes I think, I know my dog, if you can put 5 meters line in slack if you want on him. It's not allowed, but you can do it. He will never burn out and bang in it, and he know the weight will come when he's on the cart. So sometimes I can feel it a little stupid when you see a judge standing a little bit forward, a little bit forward, a little bit forward, and the handler has hard enough about getting the dog being calm in front of the cart, because being and to sit, to lay, to stay, doesn't matter. It's not about being calm. It's not to sit still and lay still and standing still. It's about the mental being calm and ready and know the job.
And I do agree with you, kind of, in a way. This with the stretch line. Because, I mean, the line should be stretched because of the slingshot risk, whatever. Yeah. But since there ain't a clear rule for what the fuck a slingshot is, and every judge is judging different.
That's one of the most discussing rules all over.
Yeah. One thing I don't remember, was it? Didn't you run EPF at some point too?
EPF?
Yeah.
No, I have tried to be in Belgium for 3 competitions in EPF. My friend contacted me one day and say, let's go to EPF in Belgium one day for a weekend, and we did, and we pulled there. Yeah.
No, I just remember me and Johan was reading some rules 1 year ago or something. Because one thing we would like even more, because here, you have, you set up your dog, and when you look at the judge gives you clearance to go. But we would like a couple of seconds there, because there's a lot of where you can see that the handlers are more or less stressing the judges. I mean, they're having a problem keeping the dog still, whatever, and they just throw an eye at the judge and they are running. So, and that would be a better thing than to maybe focus on than if the line is completely stretched. But that's me.
But it's this is really, really hard, because the slingshot discussion hasn't, in my mind, at least in EWPL, it hasn't been taken serious enough so that we actually have a good written rule. And as I see it from in EWPO, you don't either have a good rule for it, because there are allowed some slack, and then you get some kind of slingshot like situations, but it's still when I have the discussion during the years, there's a lot of people that are, in my mind, way too hard, that even a slack of 1 centimeter is too much, and in my mind that's not the case, and it differs between still you have a 10-kilo dog and you have a 70-kilo dog. It's gonna sound different, because they are
it sounds different,
way
but
different amount of force into the cart.
I remember some people for some year ago in Denmark, or maybe also in Sweden, and they was talking a lot about this in slingshot with I can hear that the dog lose the breath, and I was sorry to say, but I really hate to hear that speak, because every time you find so little thing about to say that it will take okay, there's a baby crying, there's a man laughing on the side, and blah blah blah, and the judge cannot hear all thing, and there will be a lot of noise and alarm and dogs barking. So so that will be but that will be always a hard judging to say, okay, your dog was doing like this, and say, and your dog was not do it, but because that will be a personally feeling about everything. So we need to have something to go on. For me, I can explain short what I see as a slingshot, and I will not post videos but I have videos on my phone, but I will not put it up. A slingshot for me is, and also in EWPO we have discussed about, if the dogs go hard out in the harness, it's okay if the dog has it is explosion training, weight pulling. We try to make a dog put explosion energy in the harness, but if a dog goes out and it goes back and it goes like bang in the harness without moving, and it's jump again 2 times, because you can easily see a difference between a dog who is trying to come out hard but going down and stay in it to try to move it, and if it goes, some dogs are doing and are going in front forward, and then they are going silent back and going out again and trying to grip and pull it, and that's allowed. But if the dog jump in, bang and bang to move it, they are trying to bang it to move. They are not trying to find a grip in the ground, and that's the way I judge it when I see it. And we allowed.
I have to jump in here, because I just love that. Because the thing I always say about this stupid thing with the air going out of the dog, how the fuck should you be able to hear that on a 5-kilo mini pincher or something like that? It's impossible. And the way you explain it, how you see it as a judge in another organization, would you, if you would go in and judge like that in EWPL right now, you would be the hardest judge on slingshots in the EWPL. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, but that's how I see it, and I take my own dog, Matrix. I have learned him. I have learned him when, if I needed to, because I have trained him from pup to handle a little bit harder start, because there is a difference. You also see there's a difference to move sometimes a heavy cart on the rails, because some dogs are going really, really slow out, and if the harness and the rope are too tight, they will feel like if you are going to buy something in Netto and put them outside and hook them up. They are standing, they cannot move the legs, they cannot lay the body and the movement. in the harness. So I always training my dogs in with the chains. When I stop them for breathing and breathe the air for a little break, I take the bar and pull it up behind, so they have some little slack line, so they know every time that I give the command, they know the weight will come, and then so they are never afraid about it, because I have also seen in my time in weight pulling many dogs getting really scared from the cart the first time they ever getting pushed at a show, and they are starting to back off, and the handlers has not the routine, or maybe are too what is the name? They are in Danish grådige. They want more, but the dogs are showing that they are not prepared for more, but the handlers need more for their own fault. And not for the dogs. So they are going in again, and already there the dogs are showing, okay, I'm not ready for that, but the handlers are pushing and pushing, and the dog goes and they jump and get really scared of the cart. Because they're not used to it.
Exactly. And that's the scary dogs we don't need in anywhere in the society, and especially not in weight pulling, because that's the things that's gonna make it hard for everybody else. So
for me, when even if Matrix, he can be handled like EWPL, to ask him to wait, and I go and he start a little bit earlier than I want him, because he normally can go with me, but he can also sit and wait, and Diesel can also, but I never do it on training. But it's an obedience thing, and if you have contact with your dog and learn to have a good bond and all this obedience, they can do it at a competition also. So I never use it at training. Of course, I have tried maybe the training before, or 2 times before I was in Sweden, just to see their reaction on it, but it's not something that I train in that way, because we train it when we feed the dogs at home in the garden with bringing food. They sit and wait and look. I sit it on the ground, and they look at me for wait on my signal. You are working your dogs all the day long in the obedience, if you are a good dog and handler and owner. So
exactly.
The thing that was interesting was the competition in Gothenburg. You were a few guys over from Denmark. And what I reacted to, I'm a nerd. I wanted to look in a particular way. I wanted to be, I want the dog to go straight. I want them to be quiet. I've gone in the Danish school sometime long time ago. But even though, I would probably be as lost in a show in Zealand, but handlers, a couple of them, they hadn't read the rules, that's for sure. But the dogs did damn well. Every damn one of them. So, and the first time I saw Diesel last year. Yeah, he was fucking crazy, the old guy. So now it's fun to see that even though you compete as you do and you can work as close as you do, but it worked really well.
Yeah.
I mean, you had competed in EWPL before, but the other ones were new. They did good, really good, and the dogs won.
Yeah, thank you.
And I really think that because you don't need to leave your dogs in EWPL, you train close, and that makes the dog, it gives them more confidence because you are there. And I think in EWPL there should be more people that actually train closer to the dog, because you can praise them and you can actually give them the support that they need to advance.
And I can only speak for myself, but what is important for me when I pull my dogs, and also in training, I only want my dog to try to start the weight 1 time. I hate when the dogs should standing and talking, and when I don't want that sound. I don't want them to go side by side and standing and find some steps and be unsure, because I think it's some signs on stress already. And if a dog starts to turn around for tangle, I think many should just tangle much harder and faster than they do, because it's not funny for the dog to standing in the ring. For me, if I could say something, I want it to be, if they not try to make a pull in 30 seconds, I would like to bring the time down for that, because if they not are starting when you ask them, or in 30 seconds, they will not try to start it. And the job,
I wanted 45 seconds and I was almost killed.
Yeah.
Because dogs are just stressing more and more and more up to standing and barking and screaming, and and it's because the dogs are not sure about it. It don't trust the handler and themselves, and it's not confident in that situation. So when Diesel was I think he was 1.5, 2 years, we had a little competition in this little city, in a hall inside, and I had trained him as I was doing that time, but he was not sure. He was stressed and standing and watching, and I was like, what the fuck, not another dog with this. And I was going totally back with his training and start from beginning again, and starting training him in another way. So and build him up slowly and reps, and try to rebuild him. And now he will be 9 in November, and he's really a good dog now, and has been in many years now. So
Lasse,
but
where were your track at? I have to ask again.
hard track, where it is?
Your track, yeah.
It is in a little city called Bevtoft, near Haderslev in Denmark, 30 minutes from the Germany border.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how far it is from here.
Yeah, you need to go and visit. But because you said you started over with Diesel and started from the beginning to train.
Yeah.
You really restart the training. I did the same with my Flash, because I had the stress issues with him. But what have you learned during the years in how you should train, how you should start, and in which pace pretty much you can go forward in the training?
Should I start with a new dog, or how early I will start, or anything, or what? Do you want to?
But do it, because I think the one of the most interesting parts is if people can hear how you should start with a beginner dog, they know where to start when they need to go back and rebuild something with their older dog. In my mind, at least, that's the way to do it. So
of course, I know. I need to say something to this, because sometimes you also have to know your dog and read your dog at some untouched snow. I would like to say that, because you cannot train on all tracks. Sometimes you just have to go and read your dog and see it. But the way I have trained Matrix, it is the same like I trained Diesel, but Diesel I give the couple of 2 years from pup. He was not the dog that I wanted, so I was starting go totally back with him. I want to build him up from beginning. So I was building a homemade sled on a carpet, and started totally from scratch, empty sled with only 5 kilos or something, and also I had the leash in his collar, and was just standing beside him and start him from there. Of course, it was very easy, and he was moving really fast away when he started it. But I rebuilt him from the scratch with that, and then build it up and build it up and build it up with weight plates on it. And when I was totally sure that without leash and everything, he took, let's say, 10 or 15 kilos. Then I put maybe 5 more. So small steps, and every time we come to a new maximum of the training weight on the sled, we was building it slowly up with many reps. It was maybe 4 reps on this and 4 reps with more 4 reps, raw reps. And normally when I train in 2 rounds with between 10 and 50 to 20 reps. Your dog doesn't learn to go in this, the crate in your house or something with sit 2 times to it. You have to repeat and repeat all thing in their head. And now when I go somewhere on the training with Diesel, and after every time we was coming up to something new, I never pushed him to stop to his failure or something, but let's say 80% of his maximum. And then I know for sure he could do it. And at a competition, I was never nervous or something about it, because I know we have done it a lot of times. I don't like to push my dogs to more than I have tried before, because then I maybe start to get a little nervous, and the dog can feel you when you are nervous and don't know if they can handle it. But yeah, that's how I trained him up. And
it sounds like he does a lot of he didn't do a lot of drag weighting for long distance. He more put his training together with sets and reps.
Yeah,
it feels like
and I mean, if you look at many competing dogs now, and we've talked about it, it's talked about at shows and so on. I mean, this is about the basics and how often you see dogs that maybe insure on the command, and like Lasse says, this about 30 seconds should be enough. It really should. It is a lot. I mean, if you have given the command 10 times and the dog is still sitting there or whatever, then in some way the dog ain't ready. Okay, it can be the environment, it's a new place and whatever and so on and so on. But so doing like Lasse does, thought he used a sled. And I mean, and thing is, that approach is like I have done with my start and stop for all years. I mean, I'm doing 2 sets with 7 to 12 pulls. Just as one training. That's what we do. So it's kind of fun.
And I really like the approach that you actually need to repeat the commands, because when you teach the dog how to sit, they do it more than twice. They do it a couple of 100 times before it actually is a command that really works. And it's the same thing here, that you really need to have the repetition. And when you only do drag weight, then you don't get the repetition of the actual commands. So and that's where the start and stop or
I noticed with Lil Hansen now, because I did it with Fisen at least. But I always say the name and then I give the command. And I noticed that Hansel was going on Hansel, and then he was going. So now I'm mixing it up a little and only do the command and so on. And so teach him you only go on the command. So that's my fault.
But it's I'm just messaging a little bit. Let's say his battery will run empty. But when you, I think the biggest difference that I would do with the new dog today is actually to do the more repetitions. Traditionally in Sweden, at least, we do it along drag weights, 2 to 3 kilometers in a different paces, of course, but it's more like a walk. And those are really good to start the dog when they are small for them to get used to the harness, and that's a really good way to work their muscles to start with. But when you start to do weight pulling, I think you should attack it more like traditionally weight training for humans, with sets and reps, and when you do it with you do it with chains or you do it with a sled. If you do it like you do 5 to 10 repetitions, and then you rest for 2 or 3 minutes, and then you do a lot of another set with
Welcome back,
5 to
Lasse.
10 repetitions. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello,
You.
Lasse. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome
My
back.
phone. I got it in my gadget, but it takes a lot of battery. This shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. So
sorry for that.
Yeah, no problem. We've been talking a little bit
We were doing a
regarding
recap.
recap. Yeah,
Okay.
But it sounded like you have the approach more like traditional weight training for humans, that you do sets and reps more than you just do a long, like 2 or 3 kilometers drag weight.
I never go 3 and 2 kilometers. I will say I did before, and that's also what I find out. And I will say you can never be the fastest and the strongest at the same time. And in beginning, I was going many times 3 kilometers, and sometimes 1, 2, 3, medium, and blah blah blah. And you can talking, this molecular in their muscles and all this muscular thing. But weight pulling is not about. Of course, it helped the dogs to be in good condition and have great condition in dog and everything. But I got a dog for some years ago. She never was a strong mentally dog, but she was on her, and that's what I also want all people to see their dogs. Not all dogs has the winner mindset, but mindset always beats other things and condition. You can come with a dog in bad shape and still win, even if you are in bad shape. But of course, it looks good and it's best for the health. All people will say to me, okay, your dogs always are in good shape, but I like them like that. So I do many other things with them in only weight pulling.
Hulda, the old
What?
English bulldog that came in minus 30 one year and beat the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. So
the
the mindset beats everything, and also for the dogs. So I like to build the mindset up, and then the body will follow, or maybe be the next thing I work on, because it's where you have to build the dog up. And when I drag, I go maximum 2 kilometers, but often it's around 1. And then I also use the same places.
Yeah, always the same place.
Now
Always.
I even more have to ask you, because it's funny for me to sit and listen to you. Who did you start training with in Denmark?
I was starting at a friend near me with 2 Alaska Malamute. Just old guy. He was friend with Martin. I know you know him, Martin Thompson. All know Martin. And
I'm training with Martin now, and that has opened my mind like shit.
Yeah. And sometimes I speak with Martin in the phone. We talk about a lot of things, but also dogs, of course. But I will say what him, Kevin, and all the other guys from the old Weightful Denmark, they was visit South Denmark that time, and they had a cart with them, and we was pulling a little. They showed the dogs, and we was training by ourselves in long time, and they told us advices and blah blah blah, but what I have seen and hear many years, both in Denmark and many other countries, is many people are never training with weight. They are always training they are training light reps on the track. I don't want to train dogs too heavy to failure or something, but you have to get them used to the weight. I see many dogs, and also that time for myself comes to a show, and I was training my dogs and think, okay, they are good and they are in good condition and look good, but they come to the training competition, and then they got a new personal record every time, but they was on failure or maybe on time, or maybe they didn't want to pull in the end. And every time I was going home, the dogs was, and I was sad because I could not go home and look myself in the eye because, okay, the dogs was sad when we end up. So yeah, and that was also why I was saying, no, I don't want that shit anymore. And then I started from beginning with Diesel to try in another way to build him up.
No, it's really fun listening to you because, yeah, our roads has been very different. But I mean, yeah, Kevin came in here and helped me here and so on. I ran with the day and so on. So and a lot of what you say, we started with the 3 kilometers and so on, then we went down shorter, and then went down shorter, and from season, now I haven't gone down with a new one. I'm down even shorter. And the things you say about the repetition. Do the work. Do the heavy work with the chains. If many people would spend as much time doing like start stop and work on the commands and stuff like that, instead of pulling hundreds of puts by the cart that don't give shit anyway, then things could be different. So it's interesting to hear you because we have traveled a lot the same way, and I follow. I mean, I remember when you competed in Falster. It must have been some of the first times. Yeah, and your handling, you were loud back then. Really loud.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see. And I look back at myself when I ran down there. I'm like, fuck. Good. You're as quiet as your dogs now, at least.
Yeah. I will also say when I see now and sometimes look back and I see many people, when you are standing on a competition and some people want to get the dog to pull really much, you're living you into it, and people are screaming. They always like, oh my God. And I have also been there, and also with Diesel at the championship for just a couple of years ago, I was like, whoa. And putting the voice down when I see it, but that's not the way I am now.
Yeah, but the thing is, I often say that to new people here that are very loud and start. What will you use when it gets really heavy? When you really have to go in a little more with more energy and maybe get a little louder.
Yeah. Now, as if your dog has get the right training and routine, and when you know your dog on the warm-up weights, it's not necessary to scream and blah blah blah. It's just a warm-up, and all dogs are different, and some can pull many times. Some dogs have not so much energy for many reps in a competition, and people are doing it different, and some people are calculating and have some scale or schema or something, but in the end you can never put up a plan that you can think it will works all the time, because sometimes you have to pull more reps, and that's also why I train sometimes when it's a little bit hot also on the track, and then maybe just pull so many stones, but just pull more reps, because the dog, even if it's hard, the dog can survive, and we need to push them for that.
Yeah, and thing I've always felt.
Yeah, like I say, I know this is maybe a little funny way to say it, But you cannot win in Tour de France if you take your cycle and go to Netto. You need to be
No.
pushed, and that's
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
Danes have mountain kings, and they don't have a fucking hill in all of Denmark. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
that's
I like that you said that they need to get used to a lot of pulls sometimes, and even the weight even if you don't load the cart, they need to get used to having the weight in the harness, so you can not only go light all the time, because well, that they might have a great technique, but if you don't get used to the heavy weight, they're gonna
Yeah.
not be able to do it, because that's how the body works. You need to get used to handling heavy weights as well. Otherwise,
and that's also why I don't. That's also why I like to not train with the distance, because if you put more stones or if you go with distance, it means the same, because you're going longer way, then you put more stress in your dog. If you go away, and if you put more weight on the car, you give more stress for the dog to handle. If you are working on a new thing for the muscles and their mindset, and it gives stress, both of the things, and the dogs needs to learn to survive this stress in a good way, not a bad way, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And that's also why from pup 8 weeks I put them in the harness, short time, just walking around. And now Matrix is from myself. I was doing a lot of mentally stuff with them from small pups with fireworks, and the military program with between the toe and everything, and a cold wet carpet and everything. So I was doing a lot of stuff with them to try to build them strong and give them small stress situation. Stress is not a bad thing if you do it in the right way, for pups.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
that's another thing I always felt the Danes were better at than the Swedes. I'm going to hear for this, but the Danes, it's become a lot better in Sweden. I have to say that. But before, it was every dog had to fit one mold. We are doing things this way, and it should fit for every dog. The Danes were a lot more into the individual. So
yeah. But yeah, I like to train there now. From now on, if with my next dog, blah blah blah, I want to train and introduce them for the harness in an early age, and just get them used to the harness, the sound of the chains, and yeah, when and that's also what I want to say with my training. I think you, on a cart, when you just pull an empty cart, or let's say 1 or 2 stones, or what you do, it's very, very short pull. If you take a training pull with that easy car, it will take 5-7 seconds, maybe. And the dog really needs many repetition to remember it like that. When you walk with the chains and work on the start commando, no matter what the fuck you say, or getting used to handle this stress and everything in short reps. When I go the 1 kilometer now, or maybe sometimes only 500 meters, or maybe I warm them up for some, let's say 300 meters, and then I go another way back, and then I put more on my dog. And I always go at around 100, 200 meters and stop and breathe, and then I start them again with sometimes with tight rope, sometimes with little slack in. And yeah, I always keep my leash on, because I don't want them to go to sniff on that tree, pee on that and shit, and because that's not what we do when we work. I not hit them, I not scream at them if they are doing, and if they should poo, of course they can have to poo, and then I just take the rope up again, and then we go from again. I will not screaming at them because they're doing it. But when I walk there with the chains, I often keep on the leash on my dogs. Especially if they go for the I see many dogs, they are just now, then we go 3 kilometers drag work, but yeah, they are not dragging weight, they are just nearly like running and going with a netto back behind, because they can, like this middle pace, you know, they are not getting used to work with their legs in the right way.
But that's things. I mean, it's taken us time to pick up these things and
Yeah. Of course, you cannot do it for the first time or second time. It takes, but that's also when you go drag. I think when you have go 1 kilometer, let's just say out from that, if your dog still have, of course, the dog should not be so tight that it's nearly deaf. But if you have more in your dog and the dog is fine and you have done it many times, then you need to put a little bit more weight and try to see how it will works.
Yeah.
And slowly add weight on it.
Yeah.
And that's, if you build them up like that, often they will be easy to handle, to take it with them to the track, to train them that way. Because then it's used to the weight.
Yeah.
And you can follow if you do that kind of training. I mean, I've been pretty damn consistent through the years, and I can see, especially on Skilla and Fisen, I mean, I have seen their confidence build.
Yeah.
If you don't let them fail. I mean, I haven't pushed any of them over at the show. I don't think, what I can remember. Fisen, her problem was she had a great start, but she went so damn low. So at times she lost speed at the end, and if there was a little bump or at the incline rail, she could lose speed and stop. Yeah, but that's about it. But I've noticed that if you do this kind of drag weight and you ain't afraid to push the dog, just because the dog is panting, it doesn't mean it's dying. So just build it slowly and keep it consistent. You will have a dog that will evolve and will get stronger in the head and so on. And if you then can step away from doing stupid shit on the track and push it too far, too early and so on, then you will have a dog that will get better from year to year to year. And that was funny because I kind of knew, I had, a feeling about how old Diesel was. And when he came last year, I mean, he was really fucking good. He really was. So it was really fun to see. And was one dog who was over this year in minus 32, white brindle. Yeah, you remember Jimmy Pettersson who had Odin?
Yeah.
That Danish dog looked like Odin on steroids. They look the same.
Yeah, that's maybe Conan.
Shit, it must be a Danish dog. Yeah. No, it's interesting to hear how you think about training, because a lot of things I'm doing the same. And the thing is that I started with Kevin, and me and Martin has always had some contact, but really the last couple of years we started to talk a lot. And he was up here for a training last summer, and after 20 minutes just sitting down talking weight pull, just me and him, I was, holy shit, weight pull next level. I was blown away. And I have added so much and for started thinking about stuff in other ways. So, and that's, you can always learn new stuff.
Always. And it's funny to see, because
and then Lasse goes
again, because when we look at how everybody trained when we started 2010, 2011, everybody went 3 kilometers and even longer.
And we still have the record, 60 kilometers.
Yeah, and even when we had a episode with Martin Nielsen, the Swedish Dane, he went even the mile with Bella.
Yeah, I remember.
Very light, and it shows that could work as well, but she had the mentality, she had the mental toughness, but still, when we look at how training, I think the training should be done now. It's shorter and heavier and more intense and more purpose in it, and more repetitions, because we need to get the repetitions.
and somewhere back to, I thought was bullshit back in the day, but I still think it's bullshit in some kind of way. But you remember when there was like it was a demand that your dog could do like 120% in start stop before you could go in front of the cart, and so on and so on. Yeah. Only good thing with that is if you have a dog that can do 120%, it's a big likelihood that the dog knows the command.
Yeah.
And that they have been forced to train on it before they even get to a cart.
Yeah.
So, and I have seen, I had the group here for 11 years now. And I would say the best gang I've ever had when it comes to command was the first gang.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a cart for the first 6-7 months. But there were 2 start-stop trainings a week.
Yeah.
So the dogs knew command. Was no doubt about it. And yeah, it's easy. But we've always been, since we didn't use weights, we have always introduced the dogs directly on the cart. But yeah, there's been a lot of dogs through the years where I, after 6 months, but the dog don't know the command. You have to work on it.
And I actually will, like a fool, always say that you don't need a cart to get a good weight pulling dog, because when I look at Flash, he did somewhere around 400 to 500 pulls on shows in total for all the shows, and maybe he did 10% more than that on cart training. All other training was with the chains, because I didn't have the opportunity and time to go and train as much cart. I trained the most cart when we started over, and I came to you, and then we actually, and then we did maybe 10 to 15 pulls at per trading, and I went there like once a month, maybe for 6 months.
Thing is, I've been having a good course, and it's good now too. But to be honest, Skilla and Fiesen didn't have any problems by the cart, so I didn't have to do it. Was often I did pull one training, but they were in because I was holding the training. And today with Hanso, I could manage with a small cart.
Yeah,
I could just pull that out whenever I wanted, just drag it down the football field.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have the little guy. He doesn't have a problem with the cart either. So
no, but of course, if you have a dog who finds the cart a little bit intimidating, then cart training is great. But I will still say that the cart training isn't. It's not essential to get a good dog, because if you do the other work with the chains, then you get a dog that is strong both mentally and physically. Then the cart shouldn't be an issue. I just said, Lasse, that when I trade Flash, I didn't have the opportunity to have a cart to train on. So maybe he did somewhere around, if I estimate, 450 pulls at shows totally during his career. And I think maybe he did 500 pulls totally in training with a cart in 10 years. So, but we did like at least 2,000 start and stop with chains. So if the guys who's listening to this don't have access to a cart, they can do a lot of work and get a really, really good dog with chains or with a sled. Because it's, if you get the dog, if you can train the repetitions and you can make the dog know the commands, if we do the EWPL especially, but and get used to having weight behind and have the confidence, then the cart shouldn't be a problem. What do you think about? What do you think about that?
I think that's right. That's right. But of course, I also like to go on the track and train on the cart if you have the opportunity to do it. But I think many dogs need to use much more time with the chains or with some
Yeah.
more friction weight
Yeah.
before they enter the track, because many dogs has the problem when they start on the track with the rolling friction, because it's
Yeah.
like an L stick. It's move
Yeah.
and then it's getting the slack, and they are like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, and they're getting
Exactly.
afraid, and it's a weird feeling for them. So many people should put some more weight on in the training with the tracking and working more with the dog instead of just walking a dog on the track like, okay, we go and walk like this and sniffing around. It's just condition.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also had many friends and still know people who walk 4-3 kilometers with the dog with chains, and it's up to them. They can do what they want. I do what I want. And yeah, I like when people have different ways to train, and some, or not all dogs are the same. So all dogs are different, but in the end, if the dogs not understand the job and everything, they cannot use it on the track. So that's why I want many of the people, when they ask me, I say to them, okay, your dog do not understand what it should do, and it's not ready for this weight. So if you do the other thing, like you say, you can go into the track and you will not start with an empty cart. You can maybe start with, let's say, 10 stones or something. Depends on what they weigh, the stones.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
But then you find a fraction where the cart not roll easily, but it's maybe 40% maybe of the sled that you normally train with. And then you build them up on that. And that's also what I do.
Yeah, we
That's
talked
the thing.
when you were away. We also talked about it. It's interesting to see that when me and Tobbe started 2010, 2011, everybody did the drag weight for long distance, and through the years the distance has been shorter and shorter and shorter, and along with the tracks being better and better, also there are more dogs that actually are physically stronger. So it shows that we actually are learning more about the training, and of course not all dogs are the same, but it's still, I think the people that has been around longer now and are interested in, like nerds like we, actually make mental notes or even write down stuff that we find out, and really try to analyze why things are going that way. The thing that I have noticed in EWPL, at least, is that it feels like more and more dogs are not ready mentally when it comes to the show aspect, and they are, as we talked on earlier, when you have pound for pounds up with the 150, 160, everybody assumes that they will do a new personal record every time they go to that track, and they haven't done the work at home. Is this something that you have seen also in APA and EWPO and so the last years, that there are people that are more, they expect more than they actually have put in the work for?
Yeah, of course, I also have seen it in APA and other places around in my career. I have seen it. Yeah, but I, of course, here in Denmark and Sweden and around me, and like you say, you have seen it in EWPL. I must also say that I have also seen it many times and think the same. I also was listening in the holy area when I was sitting in Göteborg for a month ago. Martin was all the time say he was pit boss. Yes, he said to me, if you take this, you are still number one. If you take this, you will have this in your burst. And in the last end, I say, you don't have to come over here anymore. Just go to the other people. I don't care, because I just pull. And one of my friends from Denmark was meet me when I was finish with matrix, and he say, "Congrats, you won." Did I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, she didn't finish it. Oh, okay, thank you. But it's not about the weight. It doesn't matter about what is on, how many person, blah blah blah. It's the same on the day for all, and as long the judges are judging in a good way, and that's what I like with weight pulling. I can go there, and even if my ex-wife was coming and handle the dog, and I will say, "Oh, this stupid bitch," if she pulls, she pulls.
Yeah.
And you can beat me if you want.
Yeah.
But that's what I like with weight pulling, and that's what it should be. It's from A to B with a time and a weight.
Yeah.
It should be really easy for all to train
and
the dog.
it should be.
But many dogs and people are not ready for put all the time and work in, and many people are falling off because then they go to greyhound tracks, and all dogs can run. The all difference is it fast, is it slow, but they have fun with chasing this thing. But it's not dog training in my head. It's just a distant instinct the dog has in the head. So I think it's really hard to improve weight pulling to a bigger sport, because many dogs like it, but the handlers are not good enough.
No, exactly.
And that's the thing. I mean, yeah, a lot of people have a shitload of things in life and so on. And and you can train like 3 times a week, but the trainings you can do, make them count. Don't just play around and go a drag weight. You have a staff and go a drag weight for 4 kilometers with 4 kilos or something like that. Make them count then. The trainings you can do. And I've said it 1,000 times. If you don't have the time to train, be so honest towards yourself and your dog, and don't put up unrealistic goals on the track.
And also, if you don't have the time to do, like, now I'm training weightlifting, and my sessions are like 2 to 3 hours long. It's 5 times a week. It's a lot of time that I'm training. But it's a lot. So, but even if I don't have the time for a full session, then I make sure that the things that I do actually matters. So I pick out all the essential parts of the training. So and I make them count. And that I think a lot of people could. Everybody says that they don't have the time to train 3 times a week, but the training doesn't need to be an hour or 2 hours long. You can do really, really good weight pulling training in 20 minutes with a dog.
I can say, I can tell you the last training I did with Hanso here, did a short drag weight, 700 meters. It took us about 24 minutes from we left home till we were back.
And that's the funny part. People say they have not time, but many are walking with the dogs every day, sometimes 3 times a day, but they have not time to and don't want to drive 2 kilometers or 10 kilometers for go to weight pulling and blah blah blah. When I work my dogs much, I work 4 or 5 days a week with the dogs for drag weight, and maybe 1 or 2 times on the weight on the cart with them when I train much. But it's normally that I go drag 2 to 3 times and 1 day with the track work in 1 week.
I was thinking about this week, just this you said about walking the dogs. You have people who can walk, I mean, 2-3 hours in the woods almost every day. If you skipped one of those a week and put that time on drag weight instead, it will make such a huge difference. So
and even if you go for a long hike with a dog, let's say you have a 2-hour hike every day with the dog on the afternoon. If you do that instead you do 1 hour hike, then the dog is warm, and then the dog has done all the things that they need to do, and then you can do weight pull training for half an hour, drag weight, start and stop, or cart or sled or anything, and then you can do like 20 minutes of walking afterwards as well, and then you get really, really effective training. It doesn't need to be long hours every time, and I should actually prefer to have shorter sessions, so the dog actually are mentally there.
Yeah.
So and also to have a plan, what type of training you should do, and plan the week a little bit. Like, well, okay, it's Wednesday. Today it's going to be 3 sets of 5 start and stop at 80% of the best, and then that's it, and you can do that in 10-15 minutes. And then it's of course you need to warm up and make sure everything is good, but as such a session is mostly half an hour total from start to finish.
And it's even more important with looking to what kind of dog you have and so on. I mean,
Of course.
I have a couple of dogs in the group here and Hansen doesn't think the drag weight is the funnest thing in the world, but then you have to make it fun. And for him now, he knows directly when we're finished. His head is in my rucksack, and one thing is tennis ball. And that's a thing. And you have that type of dogs that maybe it ain't so fun and so on. Yeah, but you have to work a little more and maybe do even shorter drag weights. And now with a young dog like Hansel, with attention span like a squirrel on LSD, you have to keep it short. So
I will also say it's for me, one thing that was hard for me in the beginning for years ago with my first dog, and in the beginning with my dogs, I was always stressed when I was go out for drag. I was driving to a lot of places. I was touching the ground. Is it dirt? Is it wet? Is it dry? How many kilos today? Blah, 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 blah. All the time. And it's only stress your fucking head. So my advice will be take some weight you are sure on. Let's say a basic weight for your dog, and walk with it and build up the stamina, the condition. And when you have the dogs good enough, then add some weight and get used to this. I always have some basic chains I use for my dogs, and then weight, because you cannot always put more and more and more. All dogs have some where they has to stop, and the dogs has to find a pace. And some terriers like Staffies, pit bulls, and sometimes it's easy, they are not so heavy, but it's easy for many of them to go with 100% of the chains, and you cannot compare your chains and my chains against each other. And people also do, like they say, okay, why can they pull 2,000 kilos on this track and not pull more than 1,200 on this track? It's not the same friction, and my chains are not the same friction as yours.
Exactly.
So that's also what people look too much at, all this. Because
and even
different.
if you have a situation where you have a dog that you trained a couple of years, and you have your basic chains with you, and the ground is very good conditions, so it's very easy. Let's say you have start and stop, and your plan is to do 5 repetitions, and then rest a little bit, and then as a set, and then you do 5 sets. And if it's super good conditions, it's very easy. Well, then do 10 sets. It's not that different. It's not that difficult.
Or maybe go some longer distance.
Exactly.
Take a dog like Diesel. Diesel always. It's funny with Diesel. When I work him at the chains, he always run after he start to weight. He's running with the weight. But Diesel is that kind of dog. You cannot just put more and more and more and more, because then he will look at you like, okay, what did I get for this? I am not a fucking pit bull terrier. I don't want to pull myself to death because follow you. So he is also smart and not that type of dog. So but he's running with it, and he knows he has to put the work in until I say he should stop. And I look at him, and as soon he goes down after, let's say, 10 meters or something. In beginning, when I was start training like that, I was try, okay, he should not run. I put more. And then he was just make a stop and look at me like, and then it was too heavy for him. But then I took it off and tried again. And when he find, after, let's say, 10 meters, when he speed up and run, he start to use all the 4 legs, and maybe it goes a little uphill, and he dig it very good. And then I praise him on the correct time and tell him he's a good boy. And then after 20 meters, I was at his side, and then I just go slowly and follow and praise and see his shoulder and his legs, and I could see now we really do it good. And then I say stop after
that's really important. Me Martin talked about this regarding Hanso, just to find like a base weight. And just on the drag, I was filming a lot. Same with Martin, we were discussing to find weight on the drag weight where you can see, he has to work, but he doesn't. Since he's so young, he doesn't have to work very hard, but he has to work, and he keeps a normal pace. And we tested the same with the start-stop. This is a good level to be on, and so on. And back to a thing you said a lot earlier, that you're always going the same track when you're doing drag weights. I have two places. I'm totally. I've done. We had a place, one training place here, and I did all my drags at the same place. And I run the GPS on everyone. So I had like 10 years worth of statistics. And now I have. We lost that training place, so now I'm pulling around where I live, but I'm doing the exactly same rounds every time.
Yeah, because you know the route, you know how long, you know. Yeah.
Exactly, and it's way easier to make sure that you have the right weight on the dog when you are on the same place all the time.
Yeah. Exactly. And then you can see where you are, and if you are moving forward or backward, or if you are standing on the same.
Exactly.
That's so great to hear from someone else. Because I've been talking about this for years. But
I will say I like stop training the commander and everything, but I never trained it by myself with my dogs, because I have so many opportunities to work on a track or a carpet or something. So I never used starts. For me, my way to drag the weight with my dogs is like a start-stop with longer distance. Because I work a lot on the starts there, and I work them many times on the sled when they are puppy. So I go a lot on the carpet with a sled as pup, maybe on the rails track with the carpet, or maybe just on a carpet on the ground. But I built the reps with a light sled over there. So that's my way to train my start and stops. And
my problem, I had problems with start-stop for. I have never had problems on shows to fold. I'm happy with this. I'll stop. But with the start-stop, I was never happy. So even if they were pulling personal best, I was like, 2 kilos more, and then went to hell. So it was just towards the end of the season that I realized that and started over that process. But on the other hand, I've never done as much start-stop as I've done the last 2 years. But to a point, I had an indoor place 700 meters away for 10 years. So, so
the important part is even if you don't do the start and stop, but you do it as you did, Lasse, the important part is to have consistency and get the reps in and actually make sure that the commands and everything works for the dog regarding everything, because consistency is key either way.
And the mindset always beats everything.
Do you run all year around? Do you take breaks when you feel the dog needs a little break now, more like that, or
the first couple of years I was training all the winter in snow and everything and in frost.
Yeah.
But now I never do. Let's say I have 2-3 months without track a chain. Only if we have a track inside, I only train with the club on the track, or maybe we have 1 month or 2 where it's too cold and we don't have a place, and then we just have a break. I think it's good for some dogs to have some rest and just go some walks. And now last Sunday we had the training over here with the dogs, and they was resting for 2 weeks without chains. After we was in Czech, Lina and I with Diesel and Matrix, we was down there try the track where the championship in EWPL. What?
A Nigerian company in Czechia?
No, it's not. It's not Giri. It's not EPF. It's the track where the EWPO championship will be held.
Okay.
So a girl named Marie, she had the track, and we visited her for a holiday and to try the track also, to see the place and area. And we was pulling at the track, and then we had, I think, 2 weeks without dragging a chain, and then we was at the show training yesterday again. So now we also had a little vacation and some rest in that time on 2 weeks. So yeah, I also take some breaks, and in the snow I don't want to work the dogs in the snow.
It's fascinating.
I hate rain.
It's fascinating that Denmark suddenly has gotten something that looks like winters.
Yeah. That's another podcast.
More snow this year than we had.
Yeah. Guys, the time is running away, and it's been really nice to talk to you, Lasse, and hopefully we can get you back and talk with you some more later.
Right. Wrote down if you have some questions, so we can talk more specific on something. Yeah, that could be fun. So the time fly, and we talk too much all the time.
Yeah, of course. I think we could sit here for more hours and hours at end. So, but it's time for me to get some food in the belly. It's been a long time.
I'm gonna call. As you notice, my phone has been ringing like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's a dude in Stockholm called Sievert who's impatient about something at the moment.
Yeah, I know what. So let's have a call tomorrow, Tobbe, and discuss that one. Yeah. Great, Lasse. We are very thankful for you to join us. And we will try to make some more episodes in English, actually.
Yeah, I will like that because,
we only had one. It was with Alex from Czechia.
From what?
That was the only one before.
Yeah, we had one episode in English. It was like almost 2 years ago now. So So, but we will make sure to have some more in English, and also if you have some guys in EWPL that you think could be good guests for us, please make sure to let us know.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
And
great.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.